massively impoverished us, everyone except those who are in the 1%, by the means I've spelt out. It has, of course, also laid waste to the natural world, because as far as they're concerned, everything is just a market function. And if you can extract money from the natural world, well, you're doing everyone a favor. That's what their doctrine of the invisible hand says. You know, by pursuing your own selfish interests, you are helping the rest of humankind. Well, if that means cutting down a rainforest, destroying a coral reef, poisoning the atmosphere, poisoning the rivers, whatever it might mean, they have to ignore the downside of that. They call them externalities. They don't belong within the economic model, effectively. They're external to that model because, of course, they can't be accommodated within it. So neoliberalism accelerates the destruction of the living world, which admittedly has been at the heart of all ideological projects since the Industrial Revolution. The living world has borne the brunt of just about every ideology there's ever been, but neoliberalism is particularly destructive to it. But it also is destroying our political life. And there is no clearer example of this than Donald Trump. Trump is not a neoliberal. If anything, I mean, the people he comes closest to, the people he most resembles in history, were the proto-fascists or the fascists. But what Trump is appealing to are the people disenfranchised by neoliberalism. Because neoliberalism, like the gold standard before the First World War and its partial reintroduction in some places before the Second World War, what neoliberalism does is apply a straitjacket to politics. It says there is no alternative. I mean, isn't this amazing that this doctrine, which was all about choice and freedom, was promoted with the slogan, "There is no alternative." And the idea is that you lock down the system by this very tight fiscal discipline which neoliberalism demands, so that even when you need to help people, when politics demands that help is available, the money is not there, because the money is being given away to the rich in the form of tax cuts. It's no longer there. Well, actually, it does turn out to be there when you need to bail out the banks. But mysteriously, it just simply wasn't there when anybody else needed a bailout. You know, neoliberalism says you're locked into this. And because there wasn't anything else available, and for all sorts of other reasons, because of the capture of the entire political class by the plutocrats, as we know, the formerly left parties became entirely sucked in to the neoliberal vision, so that both Clinton and Blair were as neoliberal in terms of economic relations as Reagan and Thatcher were. And Blair, you know, was very clearly part of that whole new political project which began in 1979. And so there was this shutdown of choice, there was this